welcome to our presentation. So my name is Judith and I am the Alberta Food Matters student intern. And then Wanda here is the chairperson of Alberta Food Matters. And so she's just helping me moderate tonight and make sure that all the technology works. And so if you have any questions throughout the presentation, it's pretty informal. You can put them in the chat box or you can unmute, say hello that way. But I just wanted to talk about a project that we're hoping to launch this year, and that is the Community Animator project. So I want to talk a little bit about our project partners first of all, and then we'll talk about what the farm to school approach actually is. So we'll go into some more detail there. And then some success stories across Alberta and BC, really showcasing what can be done in these farm to school programs with community animator support. And then I'll talk a little bit more about the community animator model and what that actually will look like. And so I just wanted to introduce ourselves first of all. So Alberta Food Matters is a non-profit organisation and we were established in 2001. So we've supported many projects and initiatives that focus on food security and food sovereignty across Alberta. And we really believe that those two concepts are preconditions for sustainable communities. So we believe that people should have a say in how their food's produced, where it comes from. And so our mission is to basically provide leadership while rebuilding the relationship between land and people. So those who grow it, those who harvest it, and those who eat it. So that's just a little bit more background about who we are. So you may have heard of us before, but if not, then you know who we are now. And so this project has been in collaboration with various different organizations. So Farm to Cafeteria Canada, the Alberta Public Health Association, the Rural Development Network, and the Public Health Association of BC. And so we've all been working together in a collective effort to try and grow farm to school programs in Alberta. And so I'd like to thank them all for the continued support, their shared knowledge, and their guidance throughout this process. And so now I just want to talk a little bit about what the farm to school approach is. So farm to school is a lens that we view school food through. So it's about transforming school food systems by supporting the health and well-being of their students and their communities. So it's a holistic approach that combines healthy local food with hands-on learning and community engagement. Sorry, I'm working on two screens here. There we go. So farm to school programs look different across the nation, but they all collectively aspire to include the three elements that you see on the right-hand side of the screen there. So first of all, healthy local food. So this usually includes some form of sensory experience where students can see, touch, smell, and taste local food at school. And this can range from tasting activities to full cafeteria services, depending on the school. And it covers sourcing local food through direct farmer relationships, through local suppliers, and or school gardens. And then the second element there is hands-on experiential learning. So the learning piece of this model is experiential and place-based. So it's about students having the opportunity to learn about the food system that's local to them, whether that's farming, fishing, harvesting, and it supports the development of food literacy and food skills through a program made for the local community. And then the final piece there is the school and community connectedness. So community relationships are an integral key that brings the other two elements to life. And so establishing a trust-based approach is essential to the success and sustainability of these programs. And it's about fostering relationships between farmers, community members, and anyone that wants to be involved in these programs. And so this picture here just kind of highlights the fact that it can be known as farm to school, but it can also be known as local to school or sea to school, depending on the community and depending on the school. And it can cover a variety of different food models. So school gardens, hot lunch programs, school farms, wild game, and other Indigenous land-based learning as well. And so farm to school can be really flexible. And so it allows the needs of the local school, the individual school, and the community to be met. And it basically can reflect how diverse our food system is across Canada. And so I also wanted to give you a little bit of background about Farm to School. It's not a new idea. They've existed in the US since around the 1990s, and the movement has grown across Canada within the last 20 years as well. So provinces have implemented Farm to School activities very successfully, with Farm to School BC, which is governed by the Public Health Association of BC. They have been a leading example of how positive work can be done when organisations put school food at the centre of their work. So back in 2007, the Public Health Association of BC were the first school in Canada to pilot a salad bar programme after seeing the positive work that was done in the US with that model. And so after the success in BC, the provincial director of Farm to School BC actually went on to found Farm to Cafeteria Canada. And so today, Farm to School Cafeteria Canada supports the National Farm to School Network through provision of grant funding, sharing knowledge and resources, and collectively mapping school food activities across the nation. And so on that map right now, if you went onto their website, you would see that there are 47 school programs in Alberta listed on the Farm to Cafeteria Canada map, and 3 of them received funding last year. But across the nation, there's hundreds of schools listed on this map. So we're really trying to get Alberta more and more involved. So having said that, our goal is to increase the interest in school food programs using the Farm to School approach in Alberta. And collectively, we hope to inspire and support schools across Alberta as they become more and more involved in these activities. And so why do we care about it? So, well, firstly, students win. Students are provided with access to nutritious, high quality local food that lets children be ready to learn and grow. They're provided the knowledge to improve their food skills and their food knowledge, and it's also a chance for them to improve their eating habits. And secondly, farmers win. So farmers and local producers can have the opportunity to educate and connect with students and schools. They can share their knowledge through field trips, education sessions, and more. And then building these new connections can also serve as a new market opportunity for farmers and food producers. And then finally, communities win. So by buying from local producers and processors, the local economy can also benefit. Positive community connections can be strengthened, and these programs bring vibrancy and excitement to the community when more and more individuals from the local area become involved. And so from a numbers perspective, the benefits of Farm to School have already been seen across Canada. The Canada Digs In survey, which was done by Farm to Cafeteria Canada, was funded by the Public Health Association of Canada, found benefits to the 4 main areas on the screen. So public health, education and learning, vibrant school communities, and community and economic development. And these are just a few of the examples of positive impacts that were measured in the study of 56,000 students in 103 schools. So there's already starting to be a change across Canada, and you can really see the benefits that are starting to happen. And so as well as the 4 areas I talked about before, there's also positive impacts from an environmental perspective. So Farm to School initiatives, they encourage a circular food economy, they encourage land stewardship, they stimulate interest in and awareness of environmental, ecological, and food security issues. So Farm to School initiatives provide opportunities to grow a new generation of environmentally conscious citizens that have a stronger connection to the land and the water. And then, so because I'm talking to educators or people that have an interest in education tonight, I've highlighted a few more of the benefits to education and learning. So from enhancing character strengths to improving knowledge retention, Farm to School activities can positively impact a student's ability to learn and give them important skills that are needed for adulthood, and they can take them into their life as they go on. So Farm to School concepts can be integrated across subject areas. So it's not just about farming. So for math, for example, you can measure the growth rate of plants. You can learn about patterns using seeds, as you can see in the picture here. Science, you can incorporate these concepts through investigating the function of different plant structures. It fits into health classes because you're learning more about fruits and vegetables, where they come from, and how to create delicious food. And then what's been seen more and more across Canada is they can also be incorporated into Indigenous learning. So students have the opportunity to learn from the land and explore the connection to Indigenous plants and food systems that are local to their area. So as mentioned, Farm to School can take many different forms, from growing microgreens to making smoothies with local fruit, and to visiting farms or through field trips. So the great thing about Farm to School is it's flexible and it can be adapted to meet the needs and interests of a local school community. And sometimes the simplest programs can have the biggest impact. So engaging students to try new things through smaller programs can often lead to more comprehensive programs in the future. And so these pictures are taken from Farm to School programs in BC, and you can see that it's a wide variety of things. And so going from the smaller programs to the bigger ones, we can also look at comprehensive models like hot lunch programs and salad bars. And so salad bars are a type of school food service that enables students to serve themselves from a selection of healthy foods that include a variety of fruits and vegetables and at least one grain and at least one protein as well. And so salad bars offer students not only variety, but choice. And the idea of them is that they're exposed repeatedly and encouraged to try new unfamiliar foods. They are going to respond by trying new items, and they incorporate a greater variety into their diet by eating more fruits and vegetables every day. This salad bar can be flexible. It can be adapted to fit and reflect each school community's needs. And there's a lot of evidence already been seen on how they can be implemented in small communities across Canada. And so that's a lot of information about the background. And so what we wanted to do was share some success stories from across Alberta and BC and show you what really can be done when people start to invest their time and their interest into this type of initiative. And so the first skill I wanted to talk about is it's actually a collection of schools. So it's the Maskwacis Education School Consortium. And it's a great example of how community-based school food programs can develop and grow into something that feeds thousands of children every day. So through Scott Hall's hard work, him and his team's hard work and dedication over the last 9 years, the Nanatok Mitsiwin Universal School Program meets the nutritional needs of 2,400 K-12 students in the Maskwacis district. And so the Nanatok Mitsiwin program is a fantastic example of how flexible farm to school or local school to food programs can be. They can be tailored to the needs of the community and the students. So a great example of that is that due to the fact that there's a lot of First Nation students in this area, they get elders to bring in buffalo, and they get lessons in butchering and how to prepare the meat. Unfortunately, they're not allowed to use the meat in their school food program, but hopefully as things change and progress, they might be able to do that in the future. They've also built community relationships by sourcing local food from local farms. So 90% of their protein comes from a local Hutterite colony, and 3,000 apples are sourced from a farm in Rocky View, and they're used every week. So they really have those strong community relationships that help support farmers and suppliers as well. And the great thing about such a large food operation is that the food preparation can be done by staff and by students. So high school students get the opportunity to get in the kitchen, help prepare the meals, which is giving them the skills and promoting food literacy that they can use as they go on into later life. And so I just have a little clip of Scott talking about his program. So hopefully this works and the sound works, but he's just going to talk about the differences they noticed soon after they started introducing the salad bar.
Salad bars partway through the year. I saw them, think something to do with Michelle Obama at some point, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. You know, Let's get them in the schools, because what it does is it gives students daily access to visual of like exposure of healthy food. So the kids walk through the lunch line, get their hot portion, and they go through the salad bar, and it's daily exposure to healthy food. They wouldn't otherwise normally have that exposure. So that thing about seeing things on a daily basis it educates the palate, right? And you're sitting in a lunchroom with all these kids from all these different grades, and you might be a marginalized kid and you just kind of come from a rough home and you don't really want to eat what's in the salad bar. So maybe you grab a hot lunch, but you're just kind of like, what is that? You just, but you look across the room and there's the cool kids in grade 12 who are eating broccoli salad. Well, a month later, you're going to be eating broccoli salad too. So there's a subtle peer pressure that happens when you eat together and you have daily access to the visual exposure of healthy food, right? So the salad bars, we saw that happen in the first.
Yeah, so that just was an example of what can happen really when over a number of years they went from having no school food whatsoever to every child in Maskwacis district being fed for free with healthy, nutritious food. So he's a great example of what can be done when there's passion there. So I just wanted to share that. And then a little further south, we have the Altario School student-led farm. So this is, as it reads, is the school has farm animals at the school. They also have a school garden where they grow produce. They have beekeeping, and the children all learn how to take care of the animals and learn all about animal stewardship. The produce that's grown in the school gardens is then used to provide meals for students in their hot lunch program. So they make soup, salads, various different things like that, depending on what they have available from the garden. And then they also have, because they have animals, they have cows, sheep, poultry. So they collect the eggs, they harvest the meat, and they also collect the honey from the bees, and they sell those products in their local school shop to the local community. And then the latest addition to their program is what they call a grocer modular farm. So it's a hydroponic container farm that's designed and built in Canada. And it basically means that students will be able to grow fresh produce all year round, even in the cold, which is going to be a great thing for the community because the closest grocery store is actually 50 kilometers away from the town. So having that produce there is going to make a big difference to a lot of people in the community. And so I just have some pictures here as well. So these are on the right hand side there is an ex-pupil of the school, so a student that has been through it and is a farmer now, and he is showing students how to shear sheep. So through experiential learning, again, they're being exposed to various different aspects of our food system. And then they also have a picture of their honey that they've collected from the beekeeping, and then their turkeys that they sold at Thanksgiving last year to local community members. And all the funds that are made go back into the program as well. So it supports the sustainability of the program by raising those funds. And then again, I just have a little clip of some staff and students talking about the program, and I'll just see if this one works as well.
Ultimately, we believe that we're on the path of doing something that no other school in this province is doing, which is awesome because people are paying attention to Altario about putting ourselves and Prairie Land on the map.
I also think it gives them a sense of importance to society as a whole. It also builds character. I truly believe they go away with a much better understanding of how important agriculture is in our everyday lives.
Our kids are so blessed to be getting this experience firsthand at Altario School, and they truly are knowing the feeling of the bond and the heart of the egg industry and what that brings to our communities.
So yeah, if you're interested in more about what they do at that school, they do have a really good, their school website is great. You can watch the rest of that video, but it was just a little clip there to show you a bit more about what they're doing in the south of our province. I don't want to play it again.
Ultimately, we believe that we're on the path of doing something that no other school in this province.
Sorry. There we go. It's just having a little bit of a freak out. There, try again. There we go.
Ultimately, we believe.
There we go. Okay, moving across to BC now. The farm to school programs in that province are a little bit different because they are administered through the Public Health Association of BC, and they're funded by the government of British Columbia as well. And so their aim is to increase the fruit and vegetable consumption among school-age children, increase the students' knowledge of local food systems, local foods and nutritional health. They want to enhance the student skills in the areas of food procurement, processing and cooking, and they also want to strengthen the local farm, school and community partnerships. So as of 2022, they have been active for 14 years and they've funded over 300 programs, and they provide support to all the school districts within BC. And 22 of the school districts are supported directly by a community animator, which is what we're going to be talking about a bit later on. And so Alberta Food Matters, along with our partners, are hoping to fund a community animator that will help support, plan and implement school food programs. And so this model was developed by the Public Health Association of BC and Farm to BC Canada. Farm to School BC, sorry, and the community animator model has had great success across the province. And so I'd like to talk about this role in a little bit more detail. And so the Farm to School programs in BC are organised into 8 regional hubs, and each hub is supported by a local community animator and supported by a network of stakeholders. So these stakeholders, along with the community animator, work together to ensure the successful delivery of programs and ensure the sustainability as well. And so each region is selected on for various factors. So the first one being size. So the more schools that are interested, the more they can become involved, and they can put a regional hub in place and have these community animators in place. And then the second thing that determines the regional hub is the readiness and the need of the area. So if they're really interested and they want to try and set this up, that's kind of what dictates whether they get the funding or not. And so because they've already successfully been implemented across BC, they've done some evaluations, and it comes out that community animators are really integral to the development of these programs across the province. They work alongside teachers, students, public health officials, and local organisations within the regional hub to support food literacy for K-12 schools. And the community animators place local people at the centre of all they do. So they try to build bridges and strengthen connections between different organisations and different stakeholders to create sustainable programs. So the idea is this person is going to help implement them, but also make sure they're going to last. And so the Farm to School BC understand that the success of these programs depends on the community buy-in and adaptation to local context. So really listening to what the teachers or students or other people want and meeting you where you're at. And so they have been really helpful with helping us plan what we want to do in Alberta. And so our vision is that the community animator will act as a liaison between schools and local community members and bring together all the champions of school food and really expand the access that students have to local food. We want to be a source of support for planning and implementing farm to school programs. We want to take some of the work away from teachers, parents, or volunteers that are required to implement this type of program. And we want to help bring forward ideas to help these programs develop and flourish, as well as identify and secure additional funding to ensure that these programs stay successful. And like I said, the farm to school model and in BC has been very successful because of the community animator support, being flexible and meeting community partners where they're at, and then ensuring that it reflects local needs and understanding what the local community wants and adjusting the programming to suit them. And it is about multiple stakeholders. It's about listening to everybody and finding what works for them and what will work for the local area. And so I just have one last example of a successful program. And this one is from Kamloops. So they were one of the first regions in BC to get a farm to school community animator. And at that point, the school district had an issue with letting schools have school gardens, and they didn't want to approve them. So the community animator went in and thought, well, what can we do instead? They acknowledged the limitations that the school district was putting in place. And they said, well, what can we do? We can grow food inside instead. We can grow indoors. So they helped Arthur Hutton Elementary grow microgreens, which are low barrier, low cost, low maintenance, and that students can be really involved in. And then over time, the teachers in the school involved in the microgreens built up the courage to partner with a community garden to grow food. So students could walk over to the community garden during class time and to be able to learn how to grow other fruits and vegetables apart from the microgreens. And now, after many years, the school district is more open to the idea of a school garden. So they now have various raised beds in their garden, in their school grounds, which can grow a variety of different fruits and vegetables, which then go back into their school food program and their hot lunch program. And so this is an example of how the community animators can go in and really help students and teachers and parents troubleshoot and adapt programs to them. And it just really shows what can be done over the years with support from the community animator. And so that was kind of all the information I had about our project. And so I just wanted to thank you for coming, and the recording will be shared to the other people that have registered. We will be running some more webinars later on in the month. So we have another one on the 17th and another one on the 22nd. So you're more than welcome to sign up to those through Eventbrite as well, or you can pass the information on to other people that might be interested. The next webinar, it will be to municipal councils and other sort of health professionals. We're going to try and bring the idea to them. And then our one on the 22nd will be to local producers, farmers, anyone who's interested from that side of things. And then we're also hoping to get in with the teachers convention in March and just really get as many people interested as we can. And so I think we might have a question here. So from Martine, how many schools would the animator serve? Well, that really will depend on how much interest we have. We're bringing it to the Peace Region School, and the more schools that get involved, the better. And especially with larger scale programs, schools can work together and really share resources that way. And we're just bringing the idea forward first to see kind of where the interest lies and go from there. But we really hope that the Peace Region is interested, and that's where we want to pilot it. So yeah, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can unmute and just ask away.
Hi, it's Janine. I have a question. I work for Alberta Health Services in health promotions, and I was just wondering, when you were saying that on the 17th there, you were hoping for municipal councils and other like health promotion or health, representatives. Do you have a contact that do you have information that you could send me that I could send out, or have you already kind of connected with somebody from Alberta Health Services? I'm just thinking that this would be a really good fit for our health promotion facilitators in the North Zone for sure.
So I actually was going to contact a dietitian colleague that I have in Grand Prairie.
Okay.
But yeah, if Janine, if you know more people in the area, that would be excellent. If you could connect us, we would love that.
Yeah, I could just send it out to our North Zone health promotion staff, and so we cover everywhere, all the way up to Fort McMurray, all the way down to, I believe it's Slave Lake. So like it's quite a big area, but yeah, healthy eating and community involvement and all that sort of stuff is kind of a really good fit with health promotion. So
Yeah.
we would
Well,
be like a good partnership for sure.
Yes, well, we'd love that. And we have,
Okay.
I think we'll have your email from you registering, or
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat box too. I'll
Okay.
just throw my actual work email in the chat box, and then you guys
Perfect.
have it. Yeah.
And then, yeah, we can send over the link to the one on the 17th, and you can share it as widely as you like. Excellent. Yeah, anyone has any other questions or comments? We'd love your feedback.
Judith, this is Leanne. I have a question for you. I love this idea, and I'm kind of coming at it from the side. My kids are out of school now, so I'm coming more from the side of a farmer. And I'm wondering if there's a way to get around some of the regulations, like such as we raise some free-range hens for layers, and it's tough. Like I wanted to donate a bunch of eggs to the food bank, and I can't do it because the rules say it has to be end user. So do you know of any way of getting around some of that stuff?
Well, I know that the Maskwacis schools and various other schools in the province have managed to figure it out. I know they've had some pushback, but I think because it's being used by the school itself in their food program, that is the end user, like you're donating it directly to something. But that will be as part of hopefully my role as a community animator, is that'll be the sort of thing I troubleshoot with communities and really put into place. And then with our partnership with BC, they'll be able to give us guidance on different government regulations and how they got around it there. And we do have some connections with government too, so we can definitely liaise with them and make sure that it's going to be something that is doable. Yeah. Also wondering how the schools are dealing with COVID protocols. Yeah, well, I know that a lot of schools, unfortunately, that had food programs have not been able to run them during the pandemic. Maskwacis School Consortium has. They've still been running meals even when students have been at home. The students have been able to come to school, collect a meal, and then leave. So it will be something that we have to navigate, but hopefully we'll be able to implement something that's safe for everyone. And as schools get more and more back to normal life, we're hoping that there won't be that roadblock in the way.
I should mention too that the Farms Cafeteria that Judith mentioned, Farms Cafeteria Canada has dedicated a pot of money to this project. And so we have some infrastructure money. So when the program rolls out, that people will be able to like have money to buy like salad bar or gardens or greenhouses. So that kind of takes away from Judith having to go out and find grants for you, because there is some seed money there. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and the other thing we should probably mention, Wanda, as well, is that the federal funding, if you wanted to talk about that.
Right. So the federal government, as an election promise in the fall, said that they were going to put $1 billion over the next 5 years towards a universal national school food program. And so right now there's an organization that's called the Coalition for Healthy School Food, that is, the government is actually going to them for their opinion. And what they say is the food in schools should be healthy, and it should be as much as possible local. And so of the $1 million, that what they've got is a pot of 200,000 to roll out this year, and then another 200,000 next year. And a lot of people are advising them that infrastructure is a big problem, because a lot of schools have let their kitchen facilities kind of decline so that they don't even match health standards. And so the infrastructure funding from the feds could be coming. It depends on who they listen to as they roll out the program. But anyway, it's very hopeful that the daycare accord that Alberta signed and other provinces have signed, that they could very quickly roll out this national school food program, because they could just base it on the thing that you write in accord with the provinces, and then you give them the money to get their programs going. So very exciting.
Yeah, so we're just hoping that you can get the word out and encourage people in the area that this is something we're really excited about, really interested in, and yeah, hopefully this was informative for you and you enjoyed listening.
Yeah. And we'll get out that, because another thing that people could do is share the link to this recording. Mm-hmm. So when we send it out to you, feel free, share it widely.
Yeah, and then we'll also post it on our Alberta Food Matters YouTube page and onto our website, so then you can access it easily as well.
I think Martine saying that she's wondering about the next steps.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say there's another organization called Rural Development Network who is also working with BC to roll out a similar program in southern Alberta. So we're doing northern Alberta, and she's working around Calgary. And what she's doing is putting it out to schools and saying, you can apply. So Martine, what we probably will do is use the application process and just see what do you want to do? And then we look and see if our animator can, help you bring that to fruition, and who else applies. So if Alberta Food Matters receives like 10 applications for different projects, then we just evaluate which ones are likely that we can help them move ahead with that. I hope that sort of explains it. And I will say one of the next steps is Judith and I, are waiting for funding. So we've made a huge grant application to pay the wage of the animator to come up here and work with people. And so we're waiting to hear. I think that the application comes from whoever is on fire to see this come. So parents could be the main applicants, and then they just talk to teachers in the schools or the principals, or it could be local producers that are talking. So the application does not have to come from the school, although you would want to partner. The more partners that you can show that you've got on side, the better. So it'd be a good thing to start talking to people about potential programs that you would love to see happen.
Yeah, and that's why we're also going to do the webinar to local food producers and farmers, so that they have an awareness, and if they're really interested in it, they can approach schools. It's not just going to be one-sided and come from schools approaching farmers. It will be, if they see it as, if both sides see it as a win-win, then it will be a partnership that forms, and those applications can come in. And we're hoping lots of schools will be interested, and that we'll need an application process, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
And Vanessa down in Eaglesham and Jade up in Manning, really, if you both, let's say, had a program that you brought forward, then you would be sort of an example to other people in the region. Look, this is what's happening, and then we just keep building on that. We just build so that more and more children get to take advantage of these programs.
Sorry, so is there an application that we guideline that we follow, or do we just come up with a plan and present it to you and ask you guys to fund it?
I think Judith would agree that we are not to the stage where we're ready for the applications. We are just telling everybody about, so I'm glad you asked. We are just at the point of informing everybody about the program.
Yeah.
But we will be sure to tell you.
Yes. And the idea is for us to just to get the program out there and really see who could be excited in it. And then once we get feedback from the region, we can say, right, this people really want this to happen. We've got grant money. Let's get this rolling. The idea of these webinars is just to really get information out there and build interest in it. And yes, Kim, our programs will be able to be in French as well. Farm to School BC have been really successful with their Francophone programs that can any language. Yeah, exactly. Martina says start. That it's just that this is really grassroots level, but we're excited about it, and I think things are going to change. And over the next few years, more and more, there's more momentum coming with school food programs, and it's just as a dietitian, it's a really exciting area where we can really affect positive health outcomes in children, and it benefits their education too. So yeah, we really hope that people get excited about it as much as we are. Yeah, well, if there's no more questions or comments, we'll let you get on with the rest of your evening. But thank you very much for joining in, and I hope that it was inspiring.